you are from. We've got people here from South Africa in Durban. We've got people, I think, from India, from all around the world. So send us a message, say hi, tell us where you're from. I'm going to let people still gather, get into the chat, into the lesson. Remember, if you have missed any of the other Cambly live sessions, there's a nice big playlist and you can just watch all of them. We've also got all the other Cambly lessons. So go watch everything. They're all very, very good. Oh, we got some more highs coming here. We've got Emil, we've got Mina, we've got Stacy's from South Korea, Maliki. Thank you guys for joining us. So what are we going to do today? I'm going to just explain it a little bit before we dive in. So we're doing money vocabulary today. Oh, we've got some more hellos. We've got Luann from Brazil. We've got Edward from Greece. We've got Zenith and Ezra and Serious Guy from Nepal. Samir, okay, Samir. We've got Labna from Bangladesh. We've got Mahfouz. We've got Abdul Karim. We've got Tariq. Wow, there's so many. We've got lots of people from Turkey. We've got, wow. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got a big crowd today. That is so good. All right, and maybe it's because we're doing money today, and everybody needs money. Everybody hopefully loves money. There's a quote from a movie. It says, everybody needs money. That's why they call it money. So money is in every part of our daily lives. So today we're going to go through some words. We're going to go through some idioms, some phrases, all related to money or using money in them. So I think that's very important, because if you travel, if you're dealing with people from other countries, you need to know how to talk about money. All right. Oh, we've got some more messages. Wow. We've got Hams from Saudi Arabia. We've got Omer from Turkey. We've got Burfin from Turkey. Emil from Azerbaijan. We've got Kamal. Wow. All right. I hope I am saying all the names correctly. Now, I'm going to just briefly go through how you can learn vocabulary or phrases or idioms. I have done this before in other lessons, so this is going to be very quick. And then we're going to look at when you would use all of these idioms, and then we're going to dive in and have some fun. And remember that this is an interactive lesson. So when we go through these idioms and these words, I want you guys to put sentences, examples in the chat so that I can read them out. We can make sure everybody is using these correctly. If there are any questions, put them in the chat. If you know a word related to money or finances that you want to know, put it in the chat. I'm sure everyone will want to know. All right, so how do you learn vocabulary and phrases and idioms? I've said this before, I don't like lists. So a lot of what people do when they need to learn something is they make a list. And then they try to learn that list, to put it into their head. And then they go into a conversation and they've got this big list in their head and they forget everything on the list because it's a lot of information to try and hold at the same time. So the better way to memorize, to learn any vocabulary is to take one word, one phrase, one idiom, and go into your conversation and use that phrase, use that idiom, and then it will become part of you. And then you go down the list, you take the next one, you put it into a conversation. And by using it, it becomes part of you. So don't learn a list, don't try to memorize a list. Take one, use it. Then the next day, take another one, use it. The next time, another one, and so on. All right. And what are the uses here? So money is everywhere. We are going to use these kinds of things if we are getting a new job. If we are doing work for a company in another country, we're going to have to know what some of these words mean. Sometimes you may want to take your money, put it into another country. So again, these words are very important. It's important we know how to speak about it with banks, with all kinds of people. And if we travel, these words are also going to come up. And again, if you're just having a normal conversation, these come up because money is everywhere. We use money all the time. All right. So what we're going to do is jump around a little bit. We're going to do words. We're going to do phrases. We're going to do idioms. I have some others that we're going to see if we can get to. So let's go and let's have some fun with it. So let's start with some basics. All right. And these are words that sometimes cause confusion. So we're going to actually start, I think, with these two here, debit and credit. Debit and credit. Now, you may have heard these words before. They're used a lot. So what is the difference between debit and credit from a money point of view? So we're going to make this very, very easy. Basically, debit is money, and I'm going to use the dollar sign, coming in. So if you have a bank account, if money comes into the bank account, it's debited. It's a debit. All right? If money goes out of your bank account, it's a credit. Often you'll hear them talk about a credit card. So we can have a credit card. Now, that credit is money that it's basically like a loan that we're going to talk about later. But again, it's money you don't have. So it's basically money coming out that you don't have. That's why it's a credit card. You're taking a loan, but you don't have the money. So it's going out. And sometimes we also talk about a debit card. So a debit card means that you have money already in your account. Money has come in to your account, and now you're using it. All right, so that is the difference between debit and credit. So let's make a sentence. Let's make a sentence, all right? So I'm going to make a sentence actually with debit card and credit card because those are useful. So we could say that I used my debit card when I went shopping. It's a very simple sentence. I can use my debit card for anything. Credit cards usually, I think, should be used only when you need to. So we could say that I had to fix my car and I had to use my credit card. So in other words, it was a lot of money, a lot of damage to the car. I didn't have it in my bank account. I had to use my credit card because I had to take money that I didn't have. For the shopping for food, I can use my debit card because it's a small amount. And often when you travel, you should know if you're using your debit card, if you're using your credit card. And from an accounting point of view, you're going to pay different amounts of money depending on which card you use. But we're not talking about accounting today. All right, so that's debit and credit card and debit and credit. I'm going to put this into the chat so that you guys have in the chat the word and the definition. So I'm going to do that quickly now. And I see we've got some examples. So debit is money coming in. Credit is money going out. And then we can have a debit card. And our example would be I used my debit card when I went shopping. And we can say credit card. I had to use my credit card to pay for the expensive repairs. All right, now, we've got some examples here already. Let's take a look. So we've got, so Zara says a debit is a bank card. Now that's true. They're actually both bank cards because they're both from a bank, but often you will use the word bank card to describe your debit card because you've got money in the bank. So that is correct. Debit is like cash. Yes. Thank you, Rabia. So remember, it's money coming in. So it's like money you have in your account. It is like cash. Serious Guy says the person who owed money is debit and credit is receiving money. So that, I'm actually going to write this down. So that's a common confusion. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it over here at the top. So I'm glad you've asked this question, Serious Guy. So we have another two words. We have a debt or a debtor, and then we have a creditor. So now this is a little confusing because money and accounting can be confusing. Debt or a debtor, when you have debt, you owe the money. So a debtor owes the money. So it's not the same as a debit, right? So even though the words are very, very similar, a debit is more about money coming in and going out of your bank account. The debt, and we kind of forget about the B, the debt or the debtor is when you owe money. So you have a debt, all right? And you have the debt to a creditor. So the creditor is the person that gave you the money. We'll talk more about this when we look at loans and mortgages. Maybe we'll do that one next. So that's a very good question. Thank you, Serious Guy. And Omar says, you have money, you have power. I like that expression. That is great. Thank you, Omar. All right. And then we've got a funny one here. My debit card is always empty. I used my credit card to buy her a birthday gift. Thank you, Luann. That is perfect. We've got some others here. Yesterday, I received money that is credit and I owe the money that is debit. So again, remember that you owe a debt. You owe a debt. You don't owe a debit. Debt is money you owe. Debit is money that comes in. I feel like we're having an accounting lecture today. All right. And I think this is a good one. Abdullah says, I never use a credit card. And Gökhan says, in Turkey, we use ATM card when talking about a debit card. That's another way to describe it. Yes. All right. These are very good examples. All right. Let's look now, because we were talking about creditors, let's look at loan, mortgage, overdraft, and there it is, debt. All right. So it's a different word. So all of this, a loan, a mortgage, an overdraft, or a debt. And we pronounce it like that. D-E-T is how we say it. So debt is when we owe money. So I need to pay money to someone else. So I'm going to put it over here that all of these mean I owe money to someone. So what is the difference between a loan, a mortgage, an overdraft, and just a plain old debt? So a loan is just about money you needed for something, but it's a big amount of money. So you're not going to take a loan for shopping, hopefully not. So you're going to take a loan to buy a car. Maybe you're going to take a loan to buy some equipment. You're going to take a loan to buy a machine. You're going to take a loan to start a business. So a loan is a big amount of money. You're taking a large amount of money, and usually from the bank. Going to go to the bank, say, I want to buy the car. I want to start the business. I want to buy this equipment. Can I have the money? So yes, a loan is a big amount. A mortgage, and see again that we've kind of dropped that T. So we don't say mortgage, we say mortgage. So the mortgage is just for buying property, all right? There's our little house. So it could be a house, it could be a big building, but it's for property. So you take a mortgage on property. Again, it's from the bank. You're going to go to the bank. You're going to say, I want this house. The bank is going to say, okay, yeah, I'll give you the money. And when you pay back, then the house is yours. So a mortgage is, again, a big amount of money for property. Then we have an overdraft. So an overdraft, sounds weird. It means that you have reached zero in your account. You have no more money in your account, but then you carry on using money. So in other words, it's like a loan. It's like the bank saying, you don't have money, but I'm going to loan you the money in your bank account. So it's not a credit card. There's no card here. There's no special credit card. It's your bank account, and now you use money that you don't have. So this is about your bank account. You use money that you basically don't have. It's why it is something you owe, because you're going to have to pay that back to the bank. It depends on the bank. If you have an overdraft, Often, if you run a big business, the business will have an overdraft because they need money sometimes when money has not come in yet. And all of these, the loan, the mortgage, and the overdraft are all debts. So debts, remember, is money you owe. It's money I need to pay back to the bank. I need to give them back for the loan. I need to pay my house, and I need to give them the money that they gave to me. So that is a debt. That is a debt. And the bank, in this case, is the creditor. So in other words, I owe money to the creditor. Okay, I'm going to write all of these down now because this was a lot of information. All right, so let's go through it one more time as I write it down. We've got so many good examples here. All right, so we've got the loan. So the loan is taking money from the bank for a large purchase. Then we have the mortgage, which is taking money from the bank to buy a house or property. Then we've got the overdraft, which is taking money in your account that you don't have. And then all of this is a debt, which means you owe money. You owe the money either back to the bank or back to the person who gave it to you. And we have the creditor. So the creditor is the person you owe money to. So the bank is my creditor. I'm going to give them the money back for all these things. All right. Ooh, I see so many things in the chat here. Let's see what we got here. All right. All right. Henry is saying that I constantly go off screen. Henry, I'm only going off screen when I need to type into the chat. So I know, but thank you for telling me. All right. Then Shuaib says, I gave my credit card number. I don't think you should ever give your credit card number to anyone unless you're swiping or you can trust the website. Don't give your credit card number. Then we have another one. My friend got a loan to buy expensive perfume. True story. All right. So that's an interesting reason to get a loan. But I suppose if they smelled really good, the perfume was worth it. All right. Then we've got from Kalipan. He had to mortgage his house to pay legal costs. This is a great sentence. So here, someone had a house. So what they had to do is they went to the bank and they said, give me a loan on my house. You can have it if I don't pay it back because I've got legal costs. So people do that. They take a loan from the bank for their house if they need to pay something. Very good example. Then Muhammad is asking again, debt is what? So remember, a debt is money I owe. I need to give the money to the bank. They gave it to me for the house. I need to give it back. That is the debt. All right. Thank you for that, Muhammad. All right. Then we've got a good example here from Shuaib. He knew Rob would not loan him money. So for some reason, Rob would not give him a big amount of money. I can understand that. I wouldn't. And here's a good example of an overdraft. You draw more money than you have on your account. Perfect way to describe overdraft. You take more money than you have in your account. And that is from, that's someone from Russia, I think. So thank you for that. I can't say your name, unfortunately. All right. Oh, we've got some more. All right. She ran up a large overdraft. Good example. A bad thing to do, but a good example. And another one, when I left Cambridge, I had a 900-pound overdraft. So Shuaib has a lot of experience with overdrafts. But yes, good. And then we've got, we're getting like an accounting lesson here, but we're not going to go into that. And Stacy says, it is not good for a college student to have a lot of debt. And it's a good sentence, Stacy. Thank you. And it's true. I don't think college students should have a lot of debt because they are just starting their lives. And for them to owe a lot of money straight away, it's not the best. All right, let's move on to something else. Let's do an expression. We've done lots of words, and we've got some funny expressions here that I want to look at. So let's first look at here, invest and speculate. Invest and speculate. Now, when you have, this is the opposite now. You have money, you have a lot of money, and you want to do something with this money. So when you invest, it means you take the money, you put it somewhere so that you are going to get income. You're going to get money back from it. So that is investing. Often people invest in stocks. I'm going to put that down over here. So people often invest in stocks. They will also maybe invest in a company. They will invest in something that is going to make money. So that's invest. You want to make more money. You put the money in somewhere to get out. And we're going to talk about another way that everyone does that in a second. But now we have this word, speculate. So what does that mean? Speculate is like investing, but with investing, often it is more of a certainty. We know this will probably happen. So an example, if you go to the bank and you say, I want to invest 100,000 in and get back 5%. So the bank will say, okay, we have this product. If you invest 100,000 here in a year, you will get the 100,000 and 5% extra, guaranteed. It could be a fixed deposit. It could be a special fund, but that's a guarantee. You invest the money and you get it out. So speculate means you don't know what's going to happen. So speculate means you think that if you put the money here, you're going to get a lot out. So there's no guarantee. So it's very, some people don't like it. It's risky because you may lose your money. You may not get anything back and you may lose your money. So speculate means you don't know. You don't know what will happen. I'm going to write that down and then we're going to do some examples. So we've got invest, which means put money somewhere in order to earn money back. And this is more certain to earn money. Whereas we have speculate, which is put money somewhere, but you don't know if it will earn money back. All right, so let's do some examples. So we could say that I invested in Apple. I took 100,000 and I invested in Apple computers, and now my money is worth 200,000. So Apple is a very big company. They carry on growing. I invest in them. I'm probably going to get money back. Speculate, let's use an example. Let's say that there is a new company starting, and I'm going to invest in that company, and we would call that speculating because I don't know. Will the company get big? So I wouldn't say I'm speculating, but if someone talked about what I'm doing, they'll say, well, he's speculating that that money will grow. So with the investing, I invest. I know I'm going to get it back. Speculate, I'm not sure. All right, I see a lot of examples again. All right, what do we have here? We have, all right, this is from Abdul Karim. I face difficulty when I face websites with only available credit card as payment. It's a good example sentence. Thank you for that. It's true. Often a lot of websites only use credit cards. Mohammed is asking, what do you say about study loans, which the student take? Is it good or not? I can't really it's a good question, but I can't really say. I think if someone wants to study at a college, then maybe the government should help, and they shouldn't have to take such a big loan. But that sounds more like a political discussion, so we're not going to go there. All right. Then we've got from Gokhan, to speculate, speculation, speculator. Oh, he's given. We've got the proper definitions there and the uses. Excellent. Oh, this is a great one from Abdullah. An example of speculation is a soccer bet. Yes. Yes. So if you take a bet with your friend that this team is going to win, you're basically speculating. You don't know. So you put the money down, you could lose it. Excellent example. Very good. All right. So that is invest and speculate. Now, there is an investing that all of us basically do, hopefully, with the bank, and we're going to look at it over here. Savings and interest. You may have heard of this before. So savings is obviously money that you put in the bank and hopefully keeps growing. So savings, money in a bank that you have. It's your money. And I'm going to put that over here as well. So it's your money. That's it. It's your money in the bank. That is savings. Now, usually what the bank does is they want your money. And we're not going to go into the economic discussion of why they want your money and what they're going to do with it. But they want to give you something back so they can hold your money. They give you interest. So interest is a form of income. So you put your money into the bank, and then they give you a little bit extra every month as income, as interest. And this is actually a form of investing, right? Because you put your money somewhere, you know you're going to get a certain amount of interest depending on the bank. So that is a form of investing. All right, I'm going to write that down as well. So we've got savings. So your money in the bank, it's yours. And then interest is money you earn from your savings in the bank. All right. So they want your money. They're going to give you a little bit for it. And we again got Abdul Karim says, to speculate is like to gamble. That is true. So speculating is like gambling. It's like betting. It's like a wager. You're taking a chance. You don't know what's going to happen. And we've got a good one here. This is Bitcoin was too gainful when was started. However, recently has been more speculative. Very, very good example. And this is from PT Fatmakunver. I hope I said that right. So what they're saying is that Bitcoin is when if you invest or you take your money, you put it in Bitcoin or something like that, it's speculative. It's speculation. You don't know if that money's going to go up or down. It's very speculative. Excellent example. All right. And do we have any more here? All right, let's carry on. We've got some more already. I don't know what that says. Good example sentence here from Shuaib. They were saving up to buy a house. So they're putting all their money into the bank to buy the house so they don't need a mortgage. Very good. Excellent one here from Fulia. The government increased the interest rate in order to reduce inflation. We're talking economics here. And it's true. So the interest rate has a lot to do with inflation and fiscal policy. Yes, excellent sentence. All right, and yes, speculation is risky. Thank you, Mohammed. All right, let me clear some of this off. It's getting a bit busy here. Let's make this a little cleaner. All right, we've done all of this. Let's take it off. All right, that is much cleaner. All right, let's do a couple of fun expressions and idioms. So the first one I want to do is bring home the bacon. So what does this mean? To bring home the bacon means to earn money. So it is a fun way to say you go to your job, and we could say, well, I went to my job this month, and or I got a new job and now I'm bringing home the bacon. In other words, I'm earning money from my job. I don't know why it's bringing home the bacon, but that's the expression. To earn money is bring home the bacon. All right, and then to go with that, let's look at this funny expression over here, which is cash cow. Cash cow. That's a very weird expression. So a cash cow is something that makes a lot of money. It could be for a business or it could be for a person. So a cash cow is something that makes a lot of money. So, for example, we talked about Apple earlier. We said Apple is a very big company and they're very successful. We all know this. So we could say that for Apple, the iPhone is a cash cow. In other words, the iPhone makes them a lot of money. All right, that's one of the ways they generate a lot of money. So it could be used for any business. You could look at, well, Kellogg's, like the cornflakes. We could say that Kellogg's cornflakes is a cash cow for Kellogg's. So any business will have its cash cow, the thing that makes them a lot of money. If you have different incomes coming to you, one of them may make you more money than the other. So that is a cash cow. So you can tell us what your cash cow is, or what the business where you work, what is the cash cow of that business? What makes the most money? And then we've got another one, another funny sounding one, which I like. Gravy train. What is this about money? What does gravy train mean? To those of you who don't know, gravy is actually like a sauce that you pour onto food and you eat it with the food. What does it have to do with money? So a gravy train is usually where you work somewhere and you don't really work, but you get money. So it's often they talk about the gravy train in government, and maybe there is corruption or people in government are not doing a lot of work, but they're getting a lot of money. So the gravy train means, and I'm going to put it over here, the gravy train, and then I must write these down. Forgot to write them down. So the gravy train means earn money, but not work. So if you have a place that is giving you money for not working, you are on the gravy train. All right, so let's write all of these down. So we've got bring home the bacon, all right, which means to earn money. Simple one, easy one. Then we've got cash cow. So the cash cow is a part of the company that makes a lot of money for the company. And then we've got gravy train, which means to earn money without really working. And I'm going to put the example here. He is on the gravy train. He hardly works and gets paid so much. So there's our example. I think we've got some examples here, right? So we've got one here from Beck Lentis. Elon Musk has a cash cow. It's true. He's got a lot of cash cows. He's got Tesla. He's got Twitter, which is maybe going to become a cash cow. So he's got a lot of things making him a lot of money. Good example. So here's a good question from Muhammad. Muhammad says, can we say that advertisements are a cash cow for any company or not? Now, a cash cow is something that earns money. So it's not like we are putting the money out there. The money's just coming in. So an advertisement, marketing, is when you pay. You pay for that. So if you want the billboard, if you want an advert, you have to pay for that. So that is an expense. It's not a cash cow. The cash cow is the thing that just makes money. Think again of the iPhone. everyone knows what an iPhone is. They don't do a lot of advertisement, but it keeps making money. That is why it is a cash cow. It's a good question. Thank you, Mohammed. All right, and then we got some more here. Savings are power. All right, again from Beck Lentizes. And I agree, savings are power for sure. Oh, this is a great one from Shuaib. His wife chooses not to work, so Robert has to bring home the bacon. Perfect sentence. So he has to earn the money because his wife is not working. And Ibtihal says the government encourages saving money in banks, and sometimes they do, depending on their economic policy. But that's a great great sentence. Well done. And then we got some more here. Okay. Belki says, I am not understand. Can you tell me what you don't understand, Belki? Send us another message, and I will try to explain. Ibtihal. This is again a political discussion here. A lot of my colleges are gravy trains, and I think you could say that because sometimes people that work at colleges, they don't do a lot of work, but they get paid a lot of money. Professors and whatnot, you could say that. All right. Let's carry on. So we've done now the cash cow, the gravy train, bringing home the bacon. A lot of food here. All right, and to go with the food, let's do this one over here. So this says fork over. Fork over. What does it mean? So fork over means to give money. That's a fun way to say give money when you buy. So let's say you are buying an iPhone. Let's say you're buying an iPhone and it's a lot of money. iPhones are expensive. And you are going to tell your friend about it. You would say, I had a fork over 2,000 euros for the iPhone. In other words, I had to give 2,000 euros for the iPhone. So it's a fun way to say, I had to give this money. And usually when we say fork over, you're a little bit angry, a little bit irritated that you had to give this money or that it was so much. You can hear in the way that I'm saying it, I had a fork over 2,000 euros. So that guy is a little irritated about it. So you give money and you are a little angry about it. And I think we can all use this in many different ways because we all need to spend money. So we can all say, I had a fork over this money. So we've all been there. You guys can tell me when you had to fork over money for something. Let's do another one before I put this in the chat. So this is you being a little bit angry about spending the money. So let's have one where you are maybe a little bit happy about it. So blow it on, we're talking about the money. So I would say something like, I blew 1,000 euros on the party. So in other words, again, I am giving money, I'm spending money, but I'm happy about it. I had fun doing it. All right? But there is fun here. So again, my expression is, my example is, I blew 1,000 euros on the party. So in other words, I gave 1,000 euros for the party, but it was great. I blew it on the party. So that is fork over and blew it on. Let's put them down here. Fork over. To give money when buying and to be a little angry about it. And then we have blow it on. In other words, to give money for something, but to be happy and have fun about it. I'm going to put the example. I blew 1,000 euros on the party. All right, I blew 1,000 euros on the party. I had fun doing it. All right, let's see. We got lots of expressions here, lots of examples. We have, all right, the son of darkness. is asking, can we mention about withdrawal account, investment accounts, and deposit accounts? All right, we're going to do that next. And we've got some other examples of saying fork over. We've got cough up or shell out. Yes. So other examples like fork over is cough up or shell out. So you could use it in the same way. We would say, I had a cough up 2,000 euros for the iPhone. Or I could say, I had a shell out 2,000 euros for the iPhone. So again, it's that little bit of being angry, a little bit of anger there. Those are great examples. Yes, Edouard, it means you did not really want to give it. You had to do it, but you were not happy about it. Oh, great one here from Stacy. Public officials are on the gravy train. And I think that is really true in many countries, in most countries. Public officials don't really work, but they get a lot of money. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Mohammed. You can watch all the other videos and you'll see all the other live chats, and we always have fun. All right, so let's look at what Son of Darkness asked. Son of Darkness asked about, let me put it over here. Let me just make some space here. Withdrawal accounts, and what's the other one here? Where is Son of Dark? Okay. Son of Darkness, investment accounts and deposit accounts. All right, so what is an account? Firstly, let's just define that, because you've got all these things, a withdrawal account, an investment account, a deposit account. An account is just what you have in the bank. So an account is you put money in the bank, that's your account. So it's with your place at the bank. Let's put it that way. Your place at the bank. Now, we've discussed some of this already. So we've looked at investments. If you have an investment account, it means you've put money into the bank, and now you're earning a little bit from that. And remember that investment, you know you're going to get it. It may be small, but you know it's going to come. So it's not speculating. A deposit account, now this really depends on the type of bank that you have and what they're going to call this. A deposit means money goes in to your account. So that's very similar to debit. So money goes into the account. So some people and some banks, they will have a special account where you're only allowed to get money in. And sometimes there are different ways that you're allowed to transfer the money out. And it depends on how much they're charging you for that. But deposit means money is coming into your account. People are allowed to put money into your account. Withdrawal is you take money out of your account. So deposit is money goes in. Withdrawal is money goes out. And these are great. These are very useful money expressions. So Son of Darkness, thank you for that. I'm going to put these into the chat now. So we've got, firstly, account, which is your money in the bank. And we've got deposit, which means money goes into the account. And a withdrawal, which is you take money out of the account. Ooh, misspelled there. Ooh. Can you guys still hear me? I think I pulled my microphone out there. All right. If you can't hear me, let me know, and then I'll see if I can plug it in. All right. So let's do a couple more. I think we got one more that I really want to do. Two more that we're going to do, and then we're going to call it the day. So let's take this off here. Let's take all of this off. And we're going to do our bottom line, which I put here at the bottom. and we're going to do money talks. All right, so let's do bottom line first. All right, bottom line means how much money you get. It could be income, it could be profit, it could be savings. So bottom line is the money you have, or even the money the company has, or even the money the government has. It means after all the expenses, after everything, what do you have at the end? All right, that's why it's called the bottom line. So after everything has happened, what do you have at the end? So that's an important thing for money. So after expenses, how much money is left? It's the bottom line. How much do you have left? And often we will say that if you want to speak to someone, if you want to negotiate, talk about the bottom line. Tell them, after all of this, you will have this in your bank account. You will have this amount of money. If you're in business and you're going to do a new product and you're going to do new advertisements, what is the bottom line? What will you have? What money will you have at the end? How much is the bottom line going to be? And I think we all know that even for monthly expenses and monthly income, you need to know what is the bottom line every month. What are you going to have left, if anything? All right. And final one we're going to do, and then I'm going to write these up, is money talks. Now, I love this expression, money talks. What it means is when you want to convince someone about something, talk about their money, and you will talk about their bottom line, because that's where people feel it. So if you want someone to do something, you've got to talk about the money. You've got to tell them how much they're going to get. And what does that mean? You convince someone by telling them about the money. So it could be something small. Let's say you are trying to get into a club. Let's say you're going to a club and the big bouncer guy is saying, nope, can't come in. And so you give him a little bit of something, he'll let you in, because money talks. Money makes things happen. If you are going for a new job and they want to bring you aboard, and then your old job says, hey, we want you to stay, they will give you more money because money talks. Money makes things happen. All right? So that's what money talks means. Money makes things happen. And obviously it works because we all need money. All right, let's write those down. Look at the final examples. So we've got the bottom line. Bottom line is the money you will have after all the expenses. So in other words, how much you will get. And then we have money talks, which means money makes people do things. Money makes things happen because you're, again, talking about the bottom line. What are they going to get? They're going to do stuff for you. All right. Oh, we got a good example here straight away from Stacy. I forked over a lot of money to fix my old laptop. I should have just bought a new one. I'm sorry if that actually happened, Stacy, but it is a good example. Thank you. Ooh, another great expression here, very similar to money talks. Money makes the world go round, which is the same way of saying it. Money makes things happen. Money makes people do things. Money is what we all need. Money makes the world go round. Very, very, and we've got it from Edward as well. Money changes my mood, says Ibtihal. I think we can all understand that as well. Then we have, what else do we have here? So Tanya is saying bottom line is like the default condition. Now, that's not what it is, Tanya. Here, bottom line is at the end. After all the other things has happened, what do you have at the end? Default means what is the usual way of doing something. So that is different. Bottom line means money, expenses. What do you get? All right. I think we have gone through a lot of stuff here. We have had a lot of great example sentences. I want to give you guys a discount code for Cambly. So let me give the discount code, and then I will explain a little bit if you guys have joined us for the first time. So here is your discount code. It is Go Live. So you can go now straight away and use that discount code. I'm not sure exactly amount. I think it's up to 36% off for Cambly. If you guys are not on Cambly already, remember it is a great platform. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your laptop, on your computer. You're going to find many different tutors like me that are going to help you in whatever you need. If you need vocabulary, if you need specific tests like IELTS or TOEFL, if you just want to have a conversation and practice, you're going to find so many people there. So go and sign up, get started, and carry on advancing your English. All right, I'm going to say again, thank you guys for joining us today. If you joined late, remember that all of our lessons are in a big playlist in Cambly. There's the Cambly Live playlist and the Cambly lessons playlists. Go take a look, watch this one and all the others, and then we will see you again in another class. Thanks very much for joining us, and bye for now.